So in those first days, there's some questions to address. Basically, you want to look at 3 categories: procedure, behavior, and content. Procedure, behavior, and content in those first days of school. There are hundreds of classroom procedures, so we'll start with procedure. You're not going to be able to teach 100 procedures in the first day of school. So you pick the ones that most matter, the ones you're going to need right away. Entering class, leaving class, raising hands to be called on, bathroom policy. If you're going to have a special assembly, what's the procedure for going to the assembly that first day? Those kind of things. Quiet signal, how to get the class quiet. Those things you can teach in the first hour, in the first day. And then the way you decide which procedures to do after that, you look at your lesson plan and you see which procedures do I need for these lessons, and then you start teaching those procedures. And you definitely put more emphasis on procedures when you start than you'd think, than the content, because the railroad tracks need to be in place for that train to move. And the objection comes up, Rick, it's all well and good to teach procedures and try and overteach procedures, but I have so much content to cover, so much material. By day 2, I am 6 weeks behind, right? My analogy is like saying to me, Rick, I have this arrow in my hand. It's the arrow of content. I have to get this arrow all the way across the field by the time those tests come in the spring. I should start running with this arrow from the first day. My response, it's better to take that arrow, put it in the bow, pull it back in the wrong direction, and let it go. It's going to go much faster and straighter in the direction we want. Well, teaching procedures is like pulling the arrow back. Almost impossible to overdo it, especially in the beginning of the school year. So you want to take that extra focus. So you start with the clear procedures you need to do, and you make a list of the ones that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, and you're golden. Now, the very first day of school, there's different theories about how this should be. One dominant theory is that you want the kids to get to work right away. They walk in, there's an assignment on the board, and they start working. It sends a message that we're here to be productive in class, and that's a great way to start. In addition, a seating chart so the kids know where they're supposed to sit right away, so they're not worrying about this and that. The structure is in place so they know where to go. And I would definitely suggest in the first couple of weeks you want to move lean in the direction of more teacher-centered teaching than student-centered, because it establishes you in front as the authority in charge, and it's working. It helps you grow an inner authority very rapidly when you start off with more teacher-centered activities. And there's nothing wrong with doing icebreakers and this and that, but in the general, the first 2 weeks you want to gear more toward teacher-centered. Kids walk in the classroom on the first day, they have questions that they need answered. Am I in the right room? Well, they need to know, are you the right teacher? They have their schedule, they're looking around. Yes, you can welcome them, let them know, put a sign on the board, that kind of thing. Where do I sit? Assigned seats is a great start. You can change those assigned seats after the first day, but it's great to have them in place where they can be when they start. They want to know who you are. Are you going to care about them? Who the other kids in the class are? Is this a sense of community? Am I safe here? Am I safe physically and emotionally? These are the type of things that kids are looking for. They want to know what's expected of them. How can they succeed in this class? And that's a question every kid has, but success for some kids means social, and others it's academic, and so you want to give them that sense, answer as many of those questions as you can right off the bat, and how you address the lessons. Well, this is what's expected. And there's nothing wrong with going through a review of the expectations right away. That's totally fine. You're going to be with the kids a long time, and so they're going to get to know you. No worries about that. Okay, when I say the word go, please turn to a partner or two and just reflect on these strategies so far, and we'll come with more in about 1 minute and 7 seconds. Ready, and go. Welcome back. A couple of things to note about content is that if you're a brand new teacher, you will tend to go a lot faster than you think. And I know when I first started, I had 3 days of lessons ready for my first 45-minute class, and 20 minutes into the class, I was done. What happens is we get so nervous. We say, any questions? Great, okay, let's go on. And there's no wait time, there's no pause. It's just, and we're just frantically getting started. All of a sudden, or we'll have a class discussion planned, and nobody raises their hand. Okay, that discussion's over, and we go on. All of a sudden, we're 3. So you want to have a lot of stuff ready to plug in. So you always have stuff to do. And you just have your little trick up your sleeve. If all else fails, have them find a partner, write this thing out, or do this activity. You've got it mapped out so you have some breathing time without you on stage. Off stage so you can breathe, check your notes, get ready for the next step. So that's just a little trick about content. And again, the procedures will dominate the beginning of the school year much more than the content. So now we've talked about procedure, we've talked about content, let's talk a little bit about behavior. You want to have ready for the kids, what the rules and consequences are of the class. Or you want to have established a strategy or procedure for having them have a hand in designing the rules of the class. Either way is okay, but you want to address that early on. You want to let them know what is expected. It doesn't have to be in a punitive way, but they need to know what the safety and the structure of the classroom is, and so they need to know that. One really fun strategy, this is from Rick Kerwin, who wrote Discipline with Dignity, is to have the kids take a quiz on the rules and consequences in your classroom. They can take the quiz as many times as they want. They need 100% to pass. So if they get a 98, they fail. They keep taking it. When they get 100%, they get an A for that quiz. You take it, put it in your files. So now, 6 months later, you're having a parent discussion, the kid's in the room, and the kid says, I didn't know that. You said, didn't really? Let's look at the quiz you passed 100% in September. Look at that. You got them all right. And you don't know. I don't know. So it's a great way to hold the kids accountable for knowing what they're supposed to know in terms of rules and regs, rules and procedures and consequences in the classroom. So that's the quiz. You can also quiz the kids on procedures. Make it count, make it funny. When I ask you to open your books to page 27, you should A, open your books to page 27, B, open to page 43, C, throw the books out the window. Make it funny, but make it count. You'll send a message to the kids, procedures in this classroom count just like content. Just like content. And we put that together, and it really sends a message that these things matter.